for knowledge, who wished not only to hear, but also to understand. Today, I once again open a chronicle of Runenthal. Listen now to what lies hidden between its ancient pages.
Am Baron Magnus von Freiherr, and I am a magician.
Baron Magnus von Freiherr was once the ruler of a small castle and a surrounding region of farmers and craftsmen. Within his realm, peace and prosperity prevailed. His subjects honored him, for he was just and cared deeply for his land. He was generous, yet never wasteful. Through his magical abilities, he would from time to time influence the weather to secure and strengthen the harvests. And he protected his people from plague and other devastating diseases. While neighboring counties sank into greed, cruelty, poverty, fear, and illness, envy grew toward the lands of Baron Magnus von Freiherr. Soon he was accused of witchcraft. The accusation was not false, yet no one could prove it. The hostility escalated. Neighboring rulers began secret raids against his people. Magnus possessed no great army, and his defenses against these attacks were only partially successful. The great mage found himself in a cruel dilemma. Either he would openly use magic and be exposed forever, or he would wait and risk the suffering of his people. His realm was somewhat shielded, and the safest path into his lands led across a single bridge. One night, he resolved to destroy that bridge. He rode out alone, intending to bring it down with magic. But soldiers and spies were already stationed there, watching him. He was overwhelmed and chained, helpless without his wand, which had fallen into the river during the struggle and seemed lost forever. Magnus was arrested and sentenced to death by burning. As was customary at that time for those accused of sorcery, one of his most loyal servants and closest confidants, Jonas, rode with desperate speed toward Runenthal, a journey of 2 days. Magnus had once told him that if he ever faced true peril, there was only one place from which he could hope for aid. Exhausted, Jonas reached the edge of the Runen forest. Yet he did not know how to pass through it. So he camped before the trees and cried out again and again, "Baron Magnus von Freiherr needs help." The forest dwellers eventually heard him and carried the message onward until it reached Amalia. Amalia appeared at the edge of the Runen forest and stepped before Jonas. After listening to his story, Amalia teleported the old Jonas and herself to Donnerberg. She gave him food and calmed him. "Tamara and I will free Magnus and bring him here. Since you now know our secret, it would be better if you remained here as well. That way we can ensure no one forces this knowledge from you." Jonas replied indignantly, "I would never betray you." Amalia soothed him. "I know. But no one truly knows what they might reveal under torture without meaning to." After a brief hesitation, Jonas agreed to stay. "You will remain here in our house for now. When we return, the forest elves shall build a home for you and Magnus." Meanwhile, the pyre for Magnus had been prepared, and he had little hope of surviving the day. Amalia and Tamara had already teleported into Magnus's realm to determine in which territory he was being held. No one knew his exact location. There were suspicions, but nothing certain. They decided to search for clues at the bridge. Tamara performed a revelation spell, which proved to be great fortune. Magnus's wand became visible at the bottom of the river, and Amalia retrieved it with a summoning spell. It was simple now. The wand was bound to Magnus and revealed his location A brief disguise spell transformed Amalia and Tamara into two elderly peasant women, and thus they stood among the onlookers. Magnus was chained to a wooden stake, and the executioner had already set the pyre alight. Amalia and Tamara joined hands and cast a protection spell over Magnus. The flames quickly consumed the dry wood, and soon his entire body stood in fire. When he realized that the flames could not harm him, he began to laugh aloud. The crowd fell silent. Amalia and Tamara deepened the confusion. They summoned a storm. The sky darkened, and thunder and lightning terrified the people so greatly that they fled the square in panic. Even the soldiers retreated. The heavy rain extinguished the fire. Amalia dissolved Magnus's chains, and the three of them teleported back to Magnus's castle. Upon arrival, Amalia said, "Magnus, you are no longer safe here. Come with us to Runenthal. We can always use a good mage and a friend." Magnus hesitated. "But what will become of my loyal people?" Amalia answered calmly, "Do not worry. I will place a protective spell over your realm for the time being. No one will be able to find it, and in time the other rulers will forget this land. Your people do not require a ruler to survive. They will manage. From time to time, you may visit them." She smiled faintly. "And now come. Jonas is waiting for you." Magnus remained silent for a long while. His gaze drifted over the walls of his castle, the towers, the distant fields, and the roofs of the houses beneath which people had trusted him. Here he had ruled, not from greed for power, but from responsibility. Here he had sown, protected, and hoped. "A ruler does not simply leave," he said quietly. Amalia stepped beside him. "No, but a true ruler knows when his task changes." Magnus drew a deep breath. For the first time in a long while, there was no anger within him, no defiance, no desire for revenge, only clarity. His realm had needed him, yet perhaps something greater needed him now. He nodded slowly. "Then my fire shall no longer warm only one land." With that decision, he left the past behind and stood at Amalia's side. Thus it came to pass that Magnus journeyed to Runenthal and, in the first years, built a new life together with Jonas. Jonas passed away after several years, which for a man of his age was only natural. His death marked the end of Magnus's last connection to his former life. The school had been planned by Amalia and Tamara, and with Magnus, another gap was filled. He too was asked by Amalia to found a club and establish its statutes. Magnus ultimately founded the second club, Flammenkern, named after the Flammenjoch of Runenthal, and the flames that had once nearly taken his life. Flammenkern stands for courage, decisiveness, passion, and determination. Only those who carry these values within themselves can become true members of Flammenkern. These fundamental principles are firmly anchored in Runenthal. So, dear friends, that's all for today. I will return to the shelves now and continue searching through the records, so that I may soon bring you new stories from Runenthal. Until next time.